The Tennessee Titans are quietly building something the rest of the NFL never saw coming. And that silence is exactly what makes it terrifying. Picture this: a young quarterback in Cam Ward who already survived hell his rookie year, now paired with Brian DeBole calling the shots on offense, and Robert Saleh locking down the defense. Nobody expected Tennessee to line up this kind of firepower so fast without screaming headlines or endless drama. This isn't another hopeful rebuild. This is a real shot to flip the entire AFC South, and the scary part is how all the pieces are clicking together right now, almost without anyone noticing. Cam Ward took beating after beating last season, 55 sacks worth of pressure, yet he still threw 15 passing touchdowns while fighting through chaos that would break most rookies. Then came the shoulder hit that had everyone holding their breath, wondering if his second year would start on ice. But the latest word is clear. He's on track, throwing again, set to be full go when it counts. Around him, Brian Daboll isn't forcing some cookie-cutter system. He's building straight around what Cam Ward does best: quick reads, smart decisions. Those RPO looks that let him play free. And on the other side, Robert Saleh brings that same hungry edge he used to keep defenses elite, even when everything else fell apart. For the first time in years, the Titans have one strong voice on offense and another on defense, both locked in from day one. But here's what keeps this window feeling so fragile. The AFC South isn't waiting around. Trevor Lawrence has Jacksonville humming, CJ Stroud already has Houston looking dangerous. Tennessee can jump right back into that fight if this trio hits, or watch the chance slip away again. So how did they even get to this point after everything fell apart before? The answer starts with the last time this team felt unstoppable, and the quiet decisions that cracked it wide open. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Titans and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 1,000 likes on this video. Remember when the Tennessee Titans walked onto any field and opponents already felt the weight? Back then, Mike Vrabel had them locked in, playing with a meanness that turned every drive into a battle they usually won. 12 wins in a season felt normal because the identity was rock solid. Grind it out, control the clock, punish mistakes. Ryan Tannehill stood tall in the pocket, making smart throws under pressure. Jay Brown stretched defenses deep, snatching balls that looked impossible. Derrick Henry ran through people like they weren't there, turning short gains into house calls that sucked the life out of stadiums. That run wasn't luck. It came from pieces fitting perfectly. Jack Conklin anchored the line with nasty run blocking. Kevin Byard patrolled the back end. Created fear, the kind where teams knew created fear. The kind where teams knew Sunday would be long and physical. The AFC South belonged to Tennessee because they dictated terms, forced turnovers, and finished drives with authority. Every victory built belief that this core could carry them for years. Yet something shifted under the surface, slow at first, then impossible to ignore. The same foundation that felt unbreakable started showing hairline cracks, decisions piled up, and the momentum reversed faster than anyone wanted to admit. What really happened in those quiet moments off the field that pulled this powerhouse apart? The story turns there, and it explains exactly why the current setup feels so urgent now. The slide didn't start with missed tackles or bad throws. It started in rooms where big calls get made. Amy Adams Strunk watched the early magic John Robinson created, drafting stars and building a winner. Then had to face the reality when those same bold moves began missing the mark. Trading A.J. Brown and hoping Treylon Burks could step right in carried massive risk. And when injuries slowed Burks down while the passing attack lost its edge, tension built fast. The Isaiah Wilson pick never panned out either, adding more weight to a roster already stretched thin. But those choices tested the trust between the front office and the sideline, and eventually ownership decided fresh direction was the only path forward. John Robinson's exit opened the door for Ran Carthon to step in with a mandate to reset everything. But the head coach already in place wasn't his own choice, creating that subtle disconnect right from the jump. Later came the shift to Brian Callahan, brought in as an offensive mind to spark the attack, yet without years of calling plays at this level under his belt. The staff learned each other on the fly while the roster kept changing around them. And that learning curve showed up in every late-game scramble. Mike Borgonzi eventually took the reins, and his first major move was bringing in voices that truly matched his timeline, pairing the new head coach and coordinators from the start instead of patching things together. Every leadership change aimed to fix the long-term view. But each one also meant more voices, more scheme adjustments, more uncertainty for players trying to lock in. The Titans kept searching for that perfect sync between the people drafting talent and the ones coaching it. Because when those two sides drift even a little, the whole building feels it. That search led straight to the quarterbacks who had to live through the turbulence, and one young passer finally started to emerge when the noise finally began to settle. The Titans kept handing the keys to quarterbacks who had to figure things out while the blueprint around them kept shifting. Will Levis arrived with real arm talent and showed flashes of command in his early days, working within a clearer structure even as the supporting cast stayed thin. But as the staff changed and the offense asked for more improvisation, he found himself forcing throws into tight windows, penalties piled on, and late leads vanished too often. The fully to Cam Ward, another young arm fully to Cam Ward, another young arm stepping into the same storm. Early on, he dealt with protection breaking down constantly, schemes still evolving, and situations forcing him to throw from his back foot on third and forever. The box score told one story with low yardage games and turnovers stacking up. But the real fight was surviving the confusion while learning NFL speed. When the interim staff finally simplified, emphasizing quicker releases and cleaner options, something clicked. From that point forward, his reads sharpened. The ball came out faster, and mistakes dropped off dramatically. That late surge wasn't random. It showed what happens when the environment stops working against the player and starts working with him. Cam Ward proved he could handle the worst of it and still grow, much like how other young quarterbacks settled in once the chaos cleared. Now, with stability locked in from the top, the question becomes what that same talent looks like inside a system designed for him instead of around him. The pieces on offense are starting to point in one clear direction, and they could change everything for the guy under center. The real excitement builds when you see how Brian DeBole plans to turn this group into something dangerous. He loves schemes that move fast, or create options and punish defenses for guessing wrong. Calvin Ridley stays on the outside as that one-on-one threat who can still burn corners when his timing clicks again. Alec Ayomanor and Chimere Dike stretch the field vertically, finding soft spots in zones or winning on option routes that let them adjust mid-play. Those kinds of weapons give the quarterback breathing room instead of forcing him to stare down blitzes every drop back. Chig Okonkwo becomes the chess piece that mismatches linebackers across the formation, stretching seams or leaking out for easy gains. Gunnar Helm grows into the dependable target who finds the right soft spot when routes break down, always there as a check down that keeps drives alive. In the backfield, the variety stands out. Tony Pollard bursts on screens and swings. Tyjae Spears attacks the edges with speed. And Julius Chestnut powers through for those gritty, short yardage conversions. That mix keeps defenses honest and gives the play caller endless ways to attack different fronts. Up front, the foundation looks solid with Peter Skoronski and J.C. Latham already showing they can handle NFL power as young anchors. Veterans like Lloyd Cushenberry, Kevin Zeitler, and Dan Moore thrive when the rules stay consistent and the assignments stay clear. No more guessing on protections. Put all those pieces under a coach who drills quick decisions and layered concepts. And the attack stops feeling scattered. It starts flowing with purpose, taking heat off the quarterback and setting up the defense to hunt instead of react. That balance is what could finally unlock the entire roster, but it only works if the other side of the ball matches the energy. Robert Saleh steps into Tennessee with a reputation for turning defenses into nightmares, even when the rest of the team struggles to score. He demands violence at the point of attack, relentless pursuit, and zero room for sloppy angles or missed tackles. That mindset already has players buying in because they know the standard is non-negotiable. Jeffrey Simmons anchors the middle as the unstoppable force who collapses pockets and eats double teams, creating chaos that spills outside. Tavondre Sweat pairs with him perfectly, clogging lanes and stuffing runs before they start, giving the whole front room to operate. The edge group still craves that true game closer. But pieces like Arden Key and Femi Ojo provide solid rotation depth while the search continues for more juice. In the secondary, Algerius Sneed brings proven ability to lock down top receivers when he's locked in, setting the tone for physical press coverage. Daryl Baker, Kyer Elam, and Keeman Hall compete hard for spots in a unit that prizes sharp eyes and hard hits over anything flashy. Saleh's track record speaks loud, elite rankings in pressure rate, yards allowed, and efficiency. Built on habits drilled daily until they become automatic. This isn't about overnight fixes. It's about rebuilding the mindset so every snap feels like a statement. When that front starts generating consistent heat, quarterbacks hesitate, throws sail, and the offense gets shorter fields to work with. The Titans finally have a defensive voice that matches the offensive clarity, but the ceiling jumps way higher if they add the right difference makers to finish what the core already started. Those additions will decide if this unit just competes or starts dictating games across the division. Tennessee sits in a rare spot with real money to spend and a young core already locked in place around Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons. That breathing room only turns into wins if the front office makes the tough calls on contracts that no longer match the timeline. Calvin Ridley, L'Jarius Sneed, and Tony Pollard carry big numbers that could eat into space needed for upgrades elsewhere. Now, keeping everyone at current deals limits how much new talent walks through the door. Restructuring one or two, or even moving on from a familiar face, suddenly opens the vault for pieces that fit the exact vision Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh are drawing up. None of it comes from disrespect. It comes from facing facts about age, health, and where roles have shifted. The smart play focuses on quiet glue guys who make everyone better without stealing headlines. A veteran like Sebastian Joseph Day could stick around as that steady inside presence, easing pressure on Jeffrey Simmons and mentoring any new edge threat who joins the rotation. Decisions on Lloyd Cushenberry, Kevin Zeitler, and Dan Moore will show whether the staff trusts coaching them up or prefers younger blood with upside. Either way, the goal stays the same: cleaner protections and consistent run blocking that lets the offense breathe and the defense pin its ears back. And then comes the aggressive hunting for specific fixes rather than splashy names just to make noise. A big-bodied outside receiver like Mike Evans or a contested catch monster like George Pickens could give Cam Ward a true red zone weapon. Bringing back a familiar face from Brian Daboll's past, such as Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot, adds quick strike options without a long learning curve. On the edge, someone with proven bursts like Trey Hendrickson or a versatile interior guy like John Franklin Myers could complete the front Robert Saleh wants to unleash. Every addition has to solve a real gap, stack with the identity already building, and raise the floor so the ceiling finally feels reachable. Those moves set the table perfectly for the draft weekend that could swing the whole franchise one way or the other. Draft weekend hits like a make-or-break checkpoint for everything the Titans have been quietly stacking. That top 4 pick carries massive weight because one swing can lock in the identity both coordinators are chasing. Landing an edge rusher like Ruben Bain next to Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat would give the front a ferocious trio that collapses pockets from multiple angles. Or if the board falls toward David Bailey, the same disruptive upside shows up inside, freeing rushers and stuffing runs before they gain steam. Either way, the choice has to scream long-term fit, not just best available, because this staff knows a single home run addition can swing the balance on both sides of the ball. After the first night, the real treasure hunt kicks in on days 2 and 3. Wide receiver targets like Malachi Fields bring outside size and contested catch strength. Omar Cooper or Chris Brazzell offer smooth route running that creates separation. Casey Conception and Chris Bell deliver yards after catch spark. And a quick slot threat like Zachariah Branch could turn short throws into chunk plays. Secondary help fits the same mold. Corners or safeties who tackle in space and read quarterbacks fast enough to match Robert Saleh's aggressive style. Every selection has to plug a specific need while growing with Cam Ward's timeline, turning potential into production that shows up on Sundays. The AFC South refuses to hand out free wins anymore. Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson keep pushing Jacksonville toward consistency. CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans have Houston playing with real edge, and Indianapolis still leans on Jonathan Taylor plus that bruising line to control games. Tennessee can crash right back into the conversation if the draft connects with the offseason work already done, building a roster that finally feels complete. Miss the mark and the gap widens while others pull ahead. This quiet rebuild has the chance to turn loud fast, but only if every move lines up exactly right. What do you see as the biggest swing for the Titans this year? Drop it below and let's talk.